Hey guys, Lindsay here. I should say probably formerly known as Lindsay. I'm now going by the name of Flynn. As some of you may or may not know, I recently came out as transgender and will be transitioning from female to male. This is me, 38 years old, pre-T.
We all love you, because
Yes.
I'm speaking for everyone.
Yes.
We're not going to be singing happy birthday, because everyone has a birthday, but not everyone has a dick day. So if everyone could sing happy dick day to Flynn, that'd be great. 3, 2, 1.
Happy Dick Day to you. Happy Dick Day to you. Happy Dick Day, dear Flynn.
I'm Flynn. I live in San Diego, Oceanside, California. Divorcee, 3 kids, law enforcement officer for the county of San Diego. I am a trans man. That's part of my transition. It's part of who I am. And so I don't necessarily say I'm not a trans man, because I am. But we ultimately, men, women, non-binary, we just want to be, exist along everybody else in society. So, a man. Looking back, I'm 42 this year, and I would say that ever since I was probably 4 or 5 years old, I've known that I was different, not wanting to identify as female, which the body that I was born into. And as a child, you don't know. You know that you don't want to be in girl clothes. You don't want to have long hair. You want to dress like all the other boys and play on the playground and do all the boy things. Once I made the decision, I jumped in both feet. I was actually really concerned and worried about coming out at work. I work with predominantly men. I work at the courthouse, which there's 2 or 3 women who work there as far as deputies go. And I was one of them. And so trying to step out of that and into now this male role was a little frightening. I wasn't quite sure how my peers would take it. Before I made the steps to actually come out at work, I did tell a couple of my closest coworkers to kind of see what their thoughts, what they were all very supportive, and whatever they could do to help, was great. But I was the first sworn officer, I guess I should say, with the county or with the department. And so it was kind of like trial and error. I had actually first reached out to a woman who worked for San Diego PD. She was their first person to come out with their department. And I reached out to her on Facebook. I was like, hey, this is what I'm thinking I want to do. And, can you kind of give me a little bit of guidance on how you did it and what I should do? And she knew my liaison and gave me her phone number. And from then on, it was kind of okay, we're going to talk to command and we're going to take the steps in which to make this as smooth as possible for you and everybody. My family has been a little bit more difficult, only in the sense of they've known me for the last, 40 years as one and one gender. And now it's completely opposite. The pronouns is probably the hardest part for them. It's just a natural thing for them to say she or her. There's been many discussions and many corrections that I've had to repeat over and over again, but eventually they'll get it, and it takes time with anything else. Within the first year, so much happens, and so many things are changing, and it takes time. It's not like an immediate thing, but little by little, people are. It's not so much. is that a boy or is that a girl? Like, I can't tell. And then it was like, well, as soon as I started hearing, excuse me, sir, or, you know, whatever pronoun related, gender related to me, I was like, oh, this is okay. I'm there. It's finally hitting home. And as a trans man, you try and mimic what cis men have and are, and you may never. You're not a cis man, and so I think just being happy with where you are and what you are at the end of it all is something that, you know, you have to learn and be okay with. Here I am, middle-aged man, trans man, 3 kids. Who the fuck is gonna want to date me? And so it didn't take long, honestly. Within, you know, 4 to 6 months, I met somebody, and I didn't hide that I was trans. I wanted to be upfront and completely transparent because I didn't want there to be anything to come back and say, well, you didn't tell me. I didn't know. How could you keep this from me? You know, had I known, I would have never. Completely terrified. Oh, she's not going to want to see me anymore. She's not going to want to talk to me. Like, that wasn't the case.
Hi, I'm Nina, Flynn's girlfriend. I've only ever known him as him.
Yeah.
And I've only ever known him as Flynn. And so I have to remember that there are people who have a history of this person as someone completely different. But what's crazy to me is I think that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you've been the same person all along. And if, like, you never mentally identified as a female.
Yeah.
Only because that was your only option.
Right.
You were told this is what you were, and you were told this is how you had to behave, and then you did that based on social constructs. Like, this is cultural behavior. Yes. And so that's what you did. And when it became okay for
you
sexual
only heard
preference.
of trans anything
referring
to men.
Well,
back
and
in
it was,
the 80s
but it
and
was
stuff.
cross-dressers. Like, I think that, like, that's why it was easier mentally for you to become or identify as a lesbian.
Right.
Because that at least explained your sexual preference.
Correct.
It didn't explain your identity.
Right.
And so I think that that's how, like, but even now in talking to him, like, about things, like, in the car the other day, we were talking about how some people identify as trans.
Oh, yeah.
And then their sexuality doesn't change. And I was like, no, like, if you identify as a male, obviously you're going to like women. And he was like, no. And I was like, no, because you're allowed to like whoever you, oh my, and I'm like driving and I'm having like a brain, like I, like this epiphany while I'm driving. I was like, well, I'm just going to treat you the same way I would any, like, you're a dude, I'm a girl, now we're dating. Like that, like, done. So, not willing to let go of this one. Not yet.
I mean, I would hope that in the next 5 to 10 years, my transition itself will be complete as far as surgeries and whatever else, and just living the day-to-day, doing what we do as adults, and work, family, kids, you know. There's really existing as me and being happy with who I am and where I'm at.
Are you happy now?
I am. It's always a work in